the shocking part in all of this is that Nick Saban dropped the ball. Obviously, listen, let me be very, very careful about what I'm about to say, because this kid, Cade Foster, may have been the worst field goal kicker I've ever seen in college football. That much is true on that particular day. But I totally agree with Golick on Mike and Mike earlier this morning, where he talked about the people on Twitter and other places, the things that they were saying to this man, the threats that, I mean, you're crossing the line. It's a game.
Yeah.
Pump your brakes, calm down. Those people are the worst of the worst. It really, really is bad. You don't go that route. But having said that, he looked absolutely petrified from the first go, from get-go. He looked like he was ill-equipped to be in a game like this. And so I bring that up because obviously you have an opportunity for a chip shot field goal to give you a 2-possession lead if you're the Alabama Crimson Tide. If you're Nick Saban, you should have gone for that field goal as opposed to going for it on 4th and 1. And, oh, by the way, calling the same running play you've been calling. I don't understand that. So, to me, that was a mistake by Nick Saban, particularly when you follow that up by electing to go for a later field goal for 40-plus yards. And this is with the same field goal kicker who you've seen throughout the game look like a deer in headlights. As far as I'm concerned, that last field goal that was kicked by Griffin that ultimately was returned for a touchdown, the game-winning touchdown, had that dude been inserted earlier, I'm like, insert him for the chip shot. Give him an opportunity to come. That's where I think that Nick Saban dropped the ball, but it was also about Cade Foster and how awful he was as well, because if you're Nick Saban, you had to coach entirely differently because this field goal kicker simply was in over his head. But in the end, you also got to look at Nick Saban, because even though it's the field goal team on the field, and the priority was to make sure that the field goal didn't get blocked, Skip, at the same time, because it was, 56, 57 yards, right? You've got to have somebody out on the field. I don't know if it's C.J. Mosley or somebody else. You've got to have somebody out there on the field other than a bunch of fat guys that can't run, trying to defend in the event that this could be returned. You've got to, and Nick Saban is known, Skip, for living on worst case scenario. This is a guy that's on the record that talks about how he enjoys himself maybe for a couple of hours after winning a national championship game before he is on his grind again, because he is always living on that worst scenario credo. So if you're doing that, why would you all of a sudden have that lapse in that particular moment in a game of this magnitude with virtually, if not literally, a national championship on the line? But in the end, what it comes down to is that you were right on the money, and I'm going to repeat this again. You were right on the money, because even as we talked about football, you gave Auburn its credit, but you said, well, Alabama might be the better team, but there is something going on with this team where it will find something happens in its favor. And that's exactly what happened Saturday night. It was one of the greatest, if not the greatest moment in college football I've ever seen. And arguably sports. I loved every moment of it until the very last. Well,
even Chris Davis saying that it was divine. Their team is divine. So
remember, that's the third great escape.
Yeah.
Remember at Johnny Football?
Yeah.
Uncalled horse collar should have been called. I think Johnny Football is going to win that game. Yep. They lose 45-41. You know,
Georgia.
That's miracle. That's just straight miracle right there. This wasn't miracle. This was just meant to be. And before I proceed anymore, the happiest I was on Saturday night was that from this point forward, for at least the rest of this year, I do not have to listen to Roll Tide, because now I get to say Roll Tigers. Tigers. Auburn Tigers. Yeah. I loved it. And for the first time in my time with Ernestine, she does not like college football. She watched every play of this game because she couldn't leave, because it was riveting to the last play. When you're saying, oh, no, I'm doing the reverse of you. Oh, no, that's good. When it left his foot, I thought it was good. It was hooking, then it was dying, and then I'm like, yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
And I wish somebody would have taken a video of me and put it on YouTube, because I was doing some dances in my living room after that. Now, to your point, to refute some of your points, first of all, Cade Foster was 11 out of 12 this year going into that game. So it wasn't like he'd been a disaster at this point, but none of those had really, really, really mattered, because, as we know, Alabama had mostly just run over everybody in their path. Even Texas A&M, in the big picture, they were way ahead, as you know, in Johnny Rowley. Now, Do I have any problem with letting the little kid try the long one, the little redshirt freshman? Nope, not at all. And yet, I want to defend Coach Saban on this point. All the kids said after the game, we practice field goal protecting, field goal covering every Friday in our walkthrough. Fan out, stay in your lanes. Stephen A., every team on field goal protection, they're all fat guys because you got to have fat guys to protect. It's who they are. We see this all the time in the NFL. But you have to have a couple of skill guys, which they did, who are on the flanks, who stay in their lanes and get down and protect it. They were just mesmerized by the kick, and I thought it was going to be good too. So they watched the kick for too long, and then all of a sudden they realized, oh yeah, we do have to go tackle this little dude who is flying up the sideline. Now, point number 2. It gets to 4th and 1 at the 13-yard line. You have the what is everybody agrees is the best offensive line in all of college football. I have absolutely no problem with Nick Saban going for it on 4th, and it's about a half yard. Are you kidding me? You got Yeldon back there. I don't care what you call. I don't care if you sneak it, but if you give it to Yeldon, he should be able against. Look, Auburn's defense is average at best. They played over their heads again with a bye week at home, but still. 4th and 1, why would you try a field goal? Even if you had a dead-eye kicker there, I'm just going to bury him. I'm going to bury him. I'm going to take it home for a 14-point lead. I had no problem with that, but miracles happen.